There are major trial results for anifrolumab. Anifrolumab is actually attacking the interferon pathway in lupus. This is particularly important because the interferon pathway leads to the interferon gene signature in about 50% of lupus patients. Anifrolumab attacks the interferon alpha receptor. Last year at the American College of Rheumatology meeting, MedImmune presented their phase 2 anifrolumab trial results, and for lupus, this was really exciting because the phase 2 trial was wildly positive on all of our lupus outcome measures. For the second product you mentioned, atacicept, atacicept is going after two mediators of lupus B cells called BAFF, sometimes called BLyS, and APRIL. We're waiting for the phase 2 results for atacicept. It will be interesting because this may be a step up on belimumab Benlysta, which only went after BAFF or BLyS. Last year was not a good year for lupus clinical trials, in that there were several companies that reported out phase 3 trials which were negative, where we had a tremendous amount of hope. One of the companies was Lilly. Their tabalumab trial wasn't completely negative, but there was a little bit of confusion about what the best dose was, and the delta between the product and standard of care didn't seem to be very great. And then another company called UCB reported out on their phase 3 trial of epertuzumab that attacked something called CD22 on B cells. Those phase 3 trial results were completely negative. Lupus is such a complex disease that it gives companies lots of potential targets. I think what we're learning in lupus is that B cells aren't going to be the only target, that interferon alpha and potentially some other cytokines like interleukin-6 may be very good targets as well. Our standard of care does help lupus patients tremendously, and a lot of our standard of care is very safe, such as medications like hydroxychloroquine and even vitamin D, which has now been proven to help lupus disease activity. Our problem in lupus is prednisone, so many patients with lupus end up needing prednisone, which actually ends up contributing to 80% of the permanent organ damage. So for the patients whose disease activity can't be fully treated on very safe medications, and for all the patients that need to be on prednisone, we have to have better therapies. We call them targeted therapies because we hope they'll target the part of the immune system that is responsible for that person's lupus.